Good morning, children. How are you? Okay. Okay. As usual, you must be fine. Now, see, children, today we are going to discuss our next topic, that is integration of princely states. Yes, children. And before going to this topic, certainly we would like to recapitulate. In the previous stage, we discussed about the challenges for the new nation. We discussed about the immediate goal our country faced. And most importantly, the three challenges that had been faced by our country children. Then we discussed about the process of partition, not to forget the two nation theory, and the four main difficulties that had been faced at the time of the partition, and then the consequences of the partition. Yes, children, the worst had been the consequences of partition. Okay, and now we are going to discuss the integration of princely states. It was a very simple question and obvious question, as our ancestors, as our leaders were going to face, because these princely states, in fact, children, we had those days as many as 565 princely states. Can you imagine the number? Just imagine that today we are having how many states? 29 states. Fine. And again, because Jammu Kashmir has lost its status as a state, so again the number got reduced. Fine. So very first, that British India had been divided into two parts: the British Indian province and the princely states. British Indian province means all the area that had been under direct control of British government. These were known as the British Indian province. Okay, children? And as far as these princely states are concerned, that these were the several large and small states ruled by princes. We were having the number of kings, the princes those days. So several large and small states ruled by princes, and they enjoyed some form of control over their internal affairs. But there was a condition: as long as they accepted British supremacy, that British is my master, I'm working, I'm ruling on behalf of the British, they enjoyed some control over there, some form of control over their internal affairs. And ultimate authority was of British crown. This was the paramountcy or the suzerainty, we say it. So the British paramountcy or the British suzerainty means overall master is the British, if they accepted some form of freedom they had been given. And children, these princely states covered 1/3 of the land of British Indian Empire. Means almost 33% of the land of British Indian Empire we had the princely states. Okay, and if we go in terms of the number of people, as per the estimate, as per the data, 1 out of 4 Indians lived under British rule. 1 out of 4 Indians means 25% people, you can say it if you go mathematically. Fine, children. Now you must be or a question you must be getting, you must be coming across, that then what was the problem? In fact, the problem was, children, one announcement was the problem that has been made by the British. This announcement has been made by the British government before our independence, that with the end of their rule over India, with the end of the British rule over India, paramountcy of the British crown over princely states would also lapse, obviously, and this meant that all these states, as many as 565, in all would become legally independent. Fine. Now just see how we are going to unfold and what was the real problem, in fact. Okay. Now the British government took the view that all these states were free to join either India or Pakistan or remain independent if they so wished. It was left on these princely states if they want, if they are interested in going with India, fine. If they are interested in going with Pakistan, it's also fine. And if they want to remain independent, if they decide on their independence, then the government, British government, had no objection, because by the time they had nothing to do, in fact, but they made this arrangement, and it really caused problem or trouble for us. This decision was left to the princely rulers, not the common people. Had it been, or had it left over common people, the result would have been something else, and problem we must not have faced. But it was problem faced. As we know, British wanted, Indians must face this problem. Clear, children? And the problem started very soon. This problem started soon, and this was a very serious problem that could threaten the very existence of a united India. We have had a dream. We all have been dreaming that India would be one nation, united India, okay, integrated nation, fine. And had we not succeeded in finding the solution of this problem, then whatsoever India we are finding nowadays, it would not have been in reality. So the problem started very soon, and the first of all, the first ruler, the ruler of Travancore, announced that state had decided on independence. As British wanted, the problem started, and first announcement has been made by the ruler of Travancore on its independence. Very next day, similar announcement has been made by the Nizam of Hyderabad. Yes, children, the Nizam of Hyderabad was very wealthy. Nizam had enough wealth, in fact. Okay, and this Nizam made the similar announcement very next day. Okay, now rulers like Nawab of Bhopal, they were also averse of joining the Constituent Assembly, and the response of the rulers of the princely states meant that after independence there was a very real possibility that India would get further divided into a number of small countries. Can you imagine, children, nowadays? These were the possibilities those days, and the prospects of democracy for the people in these states also looked bleak, also looked very gloomy. Okay, and this was a very strange situation. In most of the princely states, since the Indian independence was aimed at unity, self-determination, as well as democracy. Obviously, we are committed about democracy, and in most of these princely states, governments were run in a non-democratic manner. What we were not ready to accept means the leader were our leaders who had their utmost faith in democracy. They were not ready to accept that governments were run in an undemocratic or non-democratic manner, and the rulers were unwilling to give democratic rights to their populations. On the one hand, we wanted to give every possible democratic rights, but rulers were of these princely estates, they were not willing, they didn't want the democratic rights to be given to their common people, to their population. This was the real problem. Now, how did government try to find its solution? Okay, what had been the government's approach? Remember, children, we had the interim government those days. Means that was the caretaker government. Unless full-fledged election will take place, there used to be an interim government. So interim government took a firm stance against the possible division of India. into small principalities of different sizes. They told that no, India must not be allowed to get divided into small principalities. The Muslim League, as we know, opposed the Indian National Congress and took the view that the states should be free to adopt any course they liked. As we know, the role of the Muslim League since beginning, and here comes a person who has been our first Home Minister and first Deputy Prime Minister. Yes, you are right. I am sure you have guessed his name. It's Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Okay. He played an instrumental role, a very crucial period it was. And he was the Home Minister during this period. After independence, he played a historic role in negotiating with the rulers of princely states firmly but diplomatically and bringing most of them into the Indian Union. Diplomacy played a very important role here, children. Everything, we can't send everywhere the army. That army would conquer it, our opponents would get defeated. Where diplomacy can give us the solution, there is no need to send the army. Okay, so he used the role of diplomacy here in a very, very clever manner, in an excellent way, you can say it. Okay, and it may look very easy now, but it was a very complicated task. One very simple example, how complicated was this task? Okay, there were 26 small states in today's Orissa. Orissa is one province, one state nowadays, and there were 26 small states in today's Orissa only. Just imagine, children, how complicated the task was. Now come back to the Gujarat. One region of Gujarat is Saurashtra region. In the Saurashtra region of Gujarat, there had 14 big states. Yes, children, 14 big states were there. And 119 small states were there in only Saurashtra region of Gujarat and numerous other different administrations. In this scenario, this was the crucial role, excellent diplomacy of Patel, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Yes, children, nowadays we do have one Statue of Unity. Just his statue, in fact, has been placed there, and this is the world's tallest figure. Okay. Now, government's approach. Government had to take steps, certainly. Government's approach was guided by three considerations. Very first one, that people of most of the princely states clearly wanted to become part of the Indian Union. It was in our favor that the people of most of these princely states wanted to be the part of Indian Union. Okay, so the things became very easier for us. Okay. Second, the government was prepared. Government told that I'm not going to dictate my terms and conditions. Government was prepared to be flexible in giving autonomy to some regions. Told that okay, if some regions they want some kind of freedom, some kind of autonomy, we are ready to give them. We are not averse that any population or some people or people of one region must be suppressed. No, we want them to join with us, seeing the positive aspects. What one will get by being the part of India, you can never enjoy it by remaining outside the periphery of Indian territory. Okay? And the third, or before going to third, this autonomy we are ready to give to some regions, and the idea was to accommodate plurality and adopt a flexible approach in dealing with the demands of the region. We wanted that okay, we are flexible enough and we wanted to accommodate the plurality as well. We were not averse. We didn't want that okay, whosoever is having different opinion, let them get settled outside, let them go outside, give them the independence. No. And third, in the backdrop of partition, which brought into focus the contest over territory, the integration and consolidation of the territorial boundaries of the nation had assumed supreme importance. Yes, children. Backdrop of partition. What was the focus got shifted? The contest over demarcation of boundaries. Boundaries needs to be demarcated. Simultaneously, integration needs to take place, and then consolidation of the territorial boundaries. Okay, all these things simultaneously were going on, and we never lost our focus. We kept focusing that these are priorities for us. On prior basis, we are going to deal with it. Certainly, on August 15, 1947, peaceful negotiations had brought almost all states whose territories were contiguous to the new boundaries of India. Most of the states, they gave their consent, they saw the brighter side, they understood, they joined India. They became the part of the Indian Union. And here, one very important document had been signed. It was the instrument of accession. Okay, the rulers of most of the states, they signed it. This was the instrument of accession. It meant that their state agreed to become a part of the Union of India. And as per this, accession of princely states of Junagadh, Hyderabad, Kashmir, and Manipur, these four basically proved more difficult than the rest. As far as the issue of Junagadh is concerned, the issue of Junagadh was resolved after a plebiscite. Confirmed people's desire to India. Yes, plebiscite has been conducted there. We know about the plebiscite, that this is the people's mandate. Okay, a kind of referendum is being conducted. So the people's mandate had been given, and they confirmed their desire to join India. So the issue of Junagadh has been resolved. Okay, then three were left: Kashmir, Hyderabad, and Manipur. About Kashmir, in fact, we would be discussing in the chapters to come. Here in this chapter, just after this, we would be discussing about the problem of two princely states in particular. First, Hyderabad, and then Manipur. Fine, children. And about Jammu and Kashmir, because recently, last August also 2019, we know it that Parliament made a law, and now Jammu Kashmir is a union territory. In place of one state, we had two. We do have two union territory, Kashmir and Jammu. Fine, children. Hope you must have enjoyed the lesson. Now here some questions are there, very simple questions for you. That differentiation between the British Indian states and the princely states, meaning of British suzerainty. Explain the problem of integration of princely states, first ruler who announced about independence of his state, and you need to explain the government's approach towards the integration of princely states. In case of any doubt, you're free to raise your hand and ask question. Hope you understood today's lesson and enjoyed thoroughly. Thank you. Have a good day. Take care. Stay safe. Stay indoors.